Welcome, welcome. Now, in this lesson, your students are going to be working on comparing four-digit numbers. We are still working on NSO1, number sense and operations 1, understanding the place value of four-digit numbers. Our benchmark now is 1.3. We're going to be plotting, ordering, comparing whole numbers up to 10,000. One thing I put in the beginning is to please make sure your students work on understanding how to read the inequality symbols, less than, greater than, not equal, and of course the equality symbol, which is our equal sign. Now at this grade level, they're just calling them comparison symbols, but as they advance, they'll call them inequality symbols. And this is one thing that even when I taught high school grade, students sometimes struggled with these signs. So I think it's important to take some time, throw them into some warm up, some bell ringers, just to help students support them with reading and knowing how to use these inequality symbols. We have our less than symbol. And I used to tell students, okay, it looks like an L that's gotten squished a little bit. Our greater than, don't really know a trick for that one other than, well, it doesn't look like an L. Of course, we have equal to and not equal to. Now, I think one thing that gives students a little bit of trouble is when I read this, I'm reading this from the left to the right. 3, it's less than 5. So this is our less than symbol. But this also implies that 5 is greater than 3. And I could read it from the 5. So I think that's kind of where students get a little bit mixed up. I always, when they're writing the inequality symbol, I always tell them what my third grade teacher told me 100 years ago. The alligator's mouth opens to the largest number. So just practicing with students, placing it and then reading it. Like 5 is greater than 3. 5 is not equal to 3. 5 is equal to 5. All right, so they're going to start out with a problem like this for your working class with introducing them, where we've got two people who have a different number of things. Threw in my grandson's names here. They don't have baseball cards yet, but we can pretend. So we're comparing these two numbers to see which one's greater. Now, you may have learned it the way I did many, many years ago, which was we compare numbers using place value. This is how I learned it. I did not learn thinking about a number line. We look at the place value here. We start with the largest place value. That's key for the students. If they start with the smallest, they may say, well, 5's greater than 2. That's in the ones place, right? I always have to start with the largest, the thousands. Well, those are the same. And then I go to the hundreds. Okay, 3 is greater than 2, so 1,312 is greater. Now, do not miss though, there is a reason that we're also using the number line. Please, please, please spend some time on this lesson on the number line. Having a good spatial reasoning about number lines is going to build a foundation that is going to support students so much later on when they're introduced with integers, and understanding that the numbers that are to the right are the larger numbers. The numbers that are to the left are the smaller numbers. So even though it may seem easier just to do place value, please also support and show how we can also show it on a number line. So like we would put 1,312 right here, and then we would have 1,235. Have these discussions. Well, 1,250 is in the middle of these two numbers. So 1,235 would be just to the left of the middle. So 1,235, 1,312, which one is farther to the right? 1,312. So when we place the inequality symbol, that alligator's mouth opens to the larger one, or the Pac-Man, if your students know Pac-Man. So now practice though with them reading it, not just placing it, but reading it. So this reads 1,235 is less than 1,312. All right, so in the classwork that they have today, they'll start out with some where they're given the number line, they're placing them on the number line and comparing them that way. Those, again, the great discussions to have with them, like for example, with this one, how would I place 3,624? Well, I know it's in between 3,600 and 3,650. 3,625 would be right in the middle. So I'm going to put it right about in the middle. I promise you'll be doing so much work in building foundation if you take just a little bit of extra time and talk about placing the numbers on the number line. They'll have a few where they just compare, are they equal or not equal? And then finally, they'll be given some problems in their student work where they're just given the two numbers. They get to pick how they're going to compare the numbers. Now, you may have some students that use place value. They soar with it. They're great. If you have some students that are struggling, I have made just some place value charts where they can put both of the numbers in there. So like this 4,116, let's look at that one. They can put both of the numbers in there, 982. And I think it just helps a little bit if the students are struggling with comparing those place values. Obviously, this one is our larger number. So we would know that alligator opens to the larger number. But I would also ask and encourage them to also show it on a number line. And so I also say do this because notice these aren't numbered. And this is going to be great practice for the students. How could we number these? I need to go from 982 to 4,000. So I may want to just start with 0 and number it by thousands. That would be one way. And then place both of them on the number line. So again, I just think that is absolutely wonderful practice for the students because number lines, we need to build that foundation with working with number lines. All right, I hope that you enjoy this lesson and we'll see you in another one.